bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down. London Bridge is falling down, my fair lady.
Hello? Hello? Hello, and welcome to Walden's Workshop. My name is Justin, and today we are back with another episode of Costume Creations, the show where I show off my costumes and creations. Today's episode is a big one, as we're going to be taking a look at how I built all 5 Withered animatronics from Five Nights at Freddy's 2. If you'd like to see how I built all 5, stick around. Or, right now you'll see timestamps on your screen to skip ahead to your favorite character and see how they were built. As you may notice from the time marks, I think we're going to do something a little special today. Instead of starting with Freddy, Bonnie, and then so on, we're actually going to go backwards. Starting with Golden Freddy, and then working our way backwards to Freddy Fazbear himself. I built all these costumes for one video. 5 More Nights, the remix. Breaking apart older costumes, making completely new ones, all to be used in one video. And to me, it was worth it. With more than 50,000 views as of writing this script, that music video did amazingly, and I can't thank you guys enough for your support. So, without further ado, let's get started with... Withered Golden Freddy is an interesting case. I made an updated Fredbear mask, where I recovered his face with new fabric, created new eyebrows, teeth, and eyes. All for my short film, All an Accident, where...
Was that the bite of 87?
Yeah, ouch. This fake blood would stain the fabric, but in the end, I thought it added a nice touch to the costume. So making Fredbear into Withered Golden Freddy was as simple as removing the left ear, spray painting things black to give the head a worn look, adding wires made of pipe cleaners, and removing the eyes. For this costume, I reused an old costume I made a long time ago for Halloween, and with that, Withered Golden Freddy was complete. Because he was so simple and not too interesting, I decided not to end with him and instead start the video with his showcase. So the video would progress into more interesting costumes. Speaking of which... Withered Foxy is next on our list. Because this showcase is backwards from when I built the characters, Withered Chica was already done. But we'll get to her next. With my original FNAF 1 Foxy head, I made an endo ear like Withered Foxy, and I also tried to make a snout, but that's as far as I got. Withered Foxy was made using craft foam. I stole the foam from the old snout and used it for the new one, which was made out of car sponge. I made the base of the jaw out of EVA foam, adding a lip to the jaw with craft foam. For fabric, I bought a dark red and salmon pink colored fabric. I rounded out the shape of the tufts that go on the side of his head, and then covered the snout in fabric. I also drew out where I'd like to have the holes cut for the withering. I cut the holes out and started to cover Foxy in fabric. I used Foxy's old nose, which was made out of clay, and glued it down, and started making the endoskeleton out of EVA foam. I wrapped the jaw in fabric, and then made the ears out of craft foam. Because of this huge hole in Foxy's head, I decided to make the top of the endoskeleton head. I made that and his endo ear out of EVA foam. The teeth were also made out of EVA foam, spray painted white. I covered the ear in fabric and attached the ears to the endo head, also adding black fabric around the holes in Foxy's head. I attached the endo head to the main mask, and I glued the upper teeth to the snout. I spray painted the mask with black spray paint and painted the endo with touches of silver paint. I added Foxy's eye patch and hair on his head. Using styrofoam spheres, I drew out the eyes with a marker, then created thin strips of EVA foam for wires. For his costume, I just used Foxy's old costume and remade the stomach out of the salmon fabric. And with that, Withered Foxy was done. Of course, Foxy's head is pretty big compared to the rest of the Withereds, but this is because I could scale down his body in post-production, since Foxy has a big head with a kinda small body. But yeah, that's Withered Foxy. Withered Chica is one of the costumes I really tried to make using the FNAF 1 head. I made the top beak and bottom jaw and saved the parts, and decided to reuse them for this Withered Chica. I started by making her endoskeleton out of EVA foam, and created the teeth, jaws, and face for the endo head, also adding the brace in between the eyes. Chica's head was made out of a big cylinder of craft foam. I cut out triangles on the head, glued them into a dome, and drew on the face. Then I cut out the eyes and covered the head in yellow fabric. Black fabric was glued around the eye sockets, and teeth and supports were made for the head out of EVA foam. I made the eyes out of styrofoam spheres, and drew the eyes on with markers. I glued the endo head into the mouth, and with some black paint, I made the eyes dirty, as well as using some black spray paint to dirty the head up too. Corrugated tubes were used as wires, and for her costume, I just used my old Chica costume, cut it up with the same holes as Withered Chica, and with some black spray paint, paint around the holes. And with that, Withered Chica was done. I think I made her head a little too tall, but what makes up for that is her big mouth and bug eyes. Definitely the creepiest out of the bunch. Withered Bonnie is also one of the Withereds I attempted making from the FNAF 1 head. Most interestingly enough, Bonnie is the only Withered costume out of the main 4 to use the original cardboard head base. That being said, he did need some upgrades. I started by removing the cardboard endoskeleton face, spraying the ears with black spray paint for that old worn look. Then, I cut out the new endo face out of EVA foam. I glued a black mesh fabric behind the eyes and glued red finger lights for his eyes. The jaw was made from craft foam. EVA foam was cut for the bottom endo jaw, and I lightly spray painted all the endo parts in a silver spray paint. I started cutting these weird black dots that go around the face out of EVA foam, and the jaw was covered in blue fabric. I sprayed the mask lightly with some black spray paint and added the teeth, made of EVA foam, painted white, and the mask was mostly done. I used pipe cleaners to add wires to the face, and used my old Bonnie costume, same story of cutting the holes and using black spray paint, and thus, Withered Bonnie was done. What's most interesting to me about Withered Bonnie is that, for a character that has no face, he has one of the most recognizable faces out of all the characters. Weird stuff. Now for the main bear himself, Withered Freddy. Like all the other Withereds, I made features such as teeth and ears that could be added onto my original FNAF 1 head. If it wasn't clear from Bonnie being the only Withered with a cardboard head, Foxy, Chica, and Freddy's original cardboard heads were scrapped. Because of the backwards nature of this video, Freddy's story starts with me buying all the fabrics that would make everyone's scene so far. New fabrics for Freddy, Chica, and Bonnie were bought, with Foxy being bought later. Withered Freddy's the most interesting costume to me because he wasn't made with the intention of fully being Withered Freddy. You'll see what I mean. Freddy's head was made out of craft foam, along with the ears. I also decided to save Freddy's FNAF 1 jaw, along with his muzzle, which I ended up changing later. I covered Freddy in brown fabric and cut out the eyes. The new muzzle was covered in a sand-colored fabric, and the ears were covered with fabrics too. The endo parts were made out of EVA foam. The jaw was made out of craft foam, shaped to resemble Withered Freddy's jaw, along with red in the mouth. I finished covering the top of Freddy, pulling the seams to the top to be later covered by the hat. Soon, Freddy was completely covered. I made the eyebrows out of EVA foam, and the brim of the hat was made of a floor craft foam disc. The rest of the hat was made out of craft foam, and the teeth were made out of EVA foam painted white. And for some time being, Freddy was done. I also made top teeth and eyebrows interchangeable for a more FNAF 1 look, along with FNAF 1 ears to match. This is also similar to the original Withereds I made, using the FNAF 1 heads to have interchangeable parts to make them look more like FNAF 2. This is also the reason Withered Freddy only has 8 lower teeth, the FNAF 1 side of him showing through, with Freddy in the first game having 8 lower teeth. However, when the idea for my 5 More Nights, the remix video came into pre-production, I wanted to go all out with the Withered costumes, and that meant turning interchangeable Freddy into full-out Withered Freddy. So Freddy was more worn down, with some brown markers around the seam lines and the mouth and the eyes, and I cut down his muzzle and slimmed his eyebrows. I decided the worn look could be better, and decided to wear him out with some black spray paint. This made Freddy look much more old and withered, which became a normal for future Withered costumes, as you've already seen. Using markers and styrofoam spheres, I made new eyes, and Withered Freddy's head was complete. I really love how he turned out, because originally he was supposed to be interchangeable Freddy, to fit both FNAF 1 and FNAF 2 themed videos. He keeps my favorite features of both Freddys from the first and second game, having 8 lower teeth and big cheeks from FNAF 1 Freddy, and having the upper teeth, ears, eyes, jaw, and dirtiness of Withered Freddy. Now, for Withered Freddy's costume, like all the other Withereds, I tore up the old costume, but for Freddy, I made his stomach out of craft foam, to give it a more bigger, fat belly look. Because Freddy was going to be on screen the most in the music video, I made an endoskeleton for his arms out of cardboard, spray painting the parts silver. I spray painted the costume holes with black spray paint and did the same for the legs. Thus, Withered Freddy was finished. Out of all of the Withereds I've made, he's definitely my favorite. A mix of a bunch of Freddys, but mostly Withered Freddy. Definitely one of the best costumes I've made. Here's a few bonus things, such as comparing the old Withereds to the new ones. And with that, my friends, that's how I built all the Withered animatronics from Five Nights at Freddy's 2. If you guys did like the video, why not smash that like button and leave a comment down below. I love reading your guys' comments and hearing your guys' thoughts. Also, hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell to get notified when new videos come out. As always, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Costume Creations. Subscribe, or I'll tell your mom!